I'd like to introduce Danielle Grindle from CADLearning. Danielle, it is all yours.
Yes. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you so much. And thank you all for joining today. My name is Danielle Grindle, as Brenda said, and I'm the Channel Sales Manager here at 4D Technologies. I work with partners like Microsol Resources in terms of helping them educate their clients about how CADLearning can benefit them. I've been in the industry for over 25 years working with various software companies focused on the AEC market space. So before we get started, I do want to just go through a little bit about us and our approach to set the stage and how CADLearning can benefit you as both individuals and organizations. So first and foremost, we are 100% Autodesk focused in the CADLearning library. We are also an Autodesk authorized publisher. And that's important to you as individuals because it basically puts a stamp of approval on our content. We're very proud to have that. It means we're a credible resource to go to for assistance with your Autodesk application. We do create and own 100% of the learning content in our library. So from your perspective, that means that content is produced on a timely basis, and it also provides us with the flexibility of creating that content specifically as needed. The team here is full-time. The majority of our content is produced by our in-house development team. That ensures consistency of content across each and every one of the titles in our library, and it also ensures that we're not tied to contractors in terms of getting the content out there for you. We do align very nicely with the Autodesk collection, so whether you're using the AEC collection or the product design collection or the entertainment and media collection, you will find content in the CADLearning library to assist you. One of the things that's very unique about CADLearning is the way we approach training. In the learning world, you'll often hear about people are siloed in terms of whether they're beginner, intermediate, or advanced. And we take a bit of a different approach in that we have an integrated assessment engine in CADLearning that allows a user to come in and take an assessment on a particular product or topic, and it looks at the gaps and builds a personalized learning path for that user. So it really provides targeted learning for the user. And I'm going to show you how that works during the presentation. We also have a user interface that focuses on SMART goals. And SMART goals are specific to a role or a task within an organization. And I'll touch on those as well, but essentially they're designed to be very relevant to an individual's job or position in an organization. We provide an in-application tool for our subscribers called CADLearning Assist that lives inside of Autodesk applications such as AutoCAD and Revit and provides immediate point-and-need support for the user. So a true performance support tool. We do focus on outcomes here for organizations, and we want to provide you with the best outcomes. So first and foremost, of course, understanding what the gaps are, identifying them, and then providing you with the content and the learning paths in order to close those gaps. Within our enterprise solution, we give you tools to hire and onboard more effectively. We actually have pre-hire assessments that allow you to essentially build an assessment based on a particular job and skill set that you're looking for. And then once a candidate takes that assessment, and if you bring them on, you actually have a learning path that helps you onboard them much more effectively as well. Because learning is personalized, it does tend to be much more effective for users. Users are able to focus in on exactly where their gaps are and close them. They don't have to spend time watching a lot of lessons that really aren't pertinent to them. The library is designed so individuals can come in and upskill very quickly. So maybe you know pieces of Revit, but there's areas where you could improve upon. Because of the way the library is designed, you can come right in, focus on specific tasks, and shorten that time to proficiency. And of course, most importantly, especially in the AEC world, we're always looking at keeping our users billable. CADLearning is designed specifically so if you're looking for a quick help in an application, you can come in, get the answer you need in 2 to 5 minutes, and move back on to your project work. As far as the library itself, it's very deep and very wide. Because we focus on Autodesk content, bar none, nobody goes deeper into applications than we do. There are over 35,000 video tutorials. They are micro-learning lessons. By that, I mean they focus on a specific task from start to completion. They're about 2 to 5 minutes in length and designed to engage the user. We do have 50 plus titles in our library covering various Autodesk applications, and that library covers from beginner all the way through to advanced topics. There's no forced path per se in CADLearning. A user can come in and learn an application from A to Z. They can come in and refresh on a new topic, or simply come in to get a quick support question answered. This is a listing of the titles available in the library. So as you can see, it's pretty deep. We're covering Revit, Dynamo, BIM 360, Formit, Insight, Advanced Steel, AutoCAD MEP for the engineers on the phone, Revit MEP. So again, a very deep library. From a user perspective, with CADLearning, the benefits may seem very obvious, but of course I have a slide to point them out. Having a resource that, as an Autodesk user, you can go to get that help you need when you need it. It's oftentimes we find when we need help, it's when there is nobody available to help us. It's up and running 24/7. It's cloud and web-based, so it's always available, very convenient. And as you all probably know on the line, Autodesk is releasing new features on a regular basis now that they're a subscription service. So having a resource that you can come in and learn what's new and keep up with those changes is invaluable. From a management perspective, in our enterprise solution, we give you the tools to customize our content or add your own content in to create customized training for your organization. We give you the tools to track where the gaps are and then see how those gaps are being closed. Tools to provide your individual users with learning plans specific to them. And we should, of course, reduce internal support. So, the picks and clicks in the software are being handled by CADLearning, and you can focus on those complex problems. Ultimately, our goal, like any software tool, is to increase your productivity. And it is proven that video e-learning does increase retention rates, which does translate into faster project and production work. There's a number of items on the slide, but the one I like to focus on is something that's not always obvious to organizations, and that's the delay that happens when an individual needs help. It's a hidden cost that we don't think about, and I know especially in the AEC world, we're always looking at streamlining our RFI process and our submittals. But what happens when somebody needs help? And we use a really simple example of 10 designers all using Autodesk products. And as soon as someone needs help, let's say it's me, I'm going to look to the closest person to me or the office expert or somebody down the hall, and I'm going to stop their workflow. And as soon as I do that, that's 20% of the team that's no longer productive. And God forbid we bring in a third person, right? Then it's 30% of the team. And if you think about the cost of that in terms of your hourly rate, your overhead, the amount of time it takes to address the problem, times the number of people that get involved, times the number of times it happens over the course of a day, a week, a month, a year. I can't even tell you how many people I talk to that say, yes, that's what it's like. And we use CADLearning Assist, our plugin to Autodesk applications, as the resolution to this issue, but really the CADLearning portal can get you those same results. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and drop this down and go ahead and bring up CADLearning. So today I'm going to start from the user perspective in CADLearning. So let me go ahead and get to my home screen. And I am currently logged in utilizing our SMART goals. And I'm going to go ahead and remove that, and we'll come back to this in a moment. So when a user is logged in to the library, they can access the library or they can select a goal. I have full access to the library. I've set some preferences here. So I have Revit, which I'll come back to. I'll go ahead and open up AutoCAD so you can get a look at it. I'm sure we have AutoCAD users on the line. Very in-depth library. We also have Insight for energy analysis, Dynamo, which is becoming more and more prevalent in organizations, content on that, as well as BIM 360. So if I want to look at every lesson, I can just expand it. I can also filter down to what I'm looking for. I like to start off with an assessment so you can get a good feel for how our assessment engine works. The majority of the titles in our library include an overall knowledge assessment and a skills-based assessment. The knowledge-based assessment is recall-based in terms of functions, features, how to do things in the software, whereas the skills assessment is that more, do you know how to drive the software? You have to actually open up a file inside the application, perform some type of function or task before you can answer that assessment question. So I'm going to start off with an assessment I've completed. I won't put you through going through an entire assessment. I'm going to go ahead to my user transcript. I do a lot of presentations. Nobody's transcript is going to look like mine, but my transcript is essentially any assessments I've completed. This is my Dynamo assessment. And right away as a user, when I complete an assessment, it gives me my results. It tells me how many questions I answered correctly versus incorrectly. So I answered about a fifth of my questions correctly. And then it looks at my incorrectly answered questions, and it recommends video lessons that I should go watch so that I can better understand that concept. It does not tell me what the correct answer is. We want you to go back, understand the concept, and answer a related assessment question again. So I could just click on the video links here and watch my lessons, or even better, I can come along down to the bottom of my results, and I can create a playlist. And this becomes my targeted learning path that I can use. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a playlist called Dynamo, grabs all of my videos, and now I'll go ahead and open up my playlist palette, and I have videos specifically related to Dynamo. So as a user, I can come through, I can watch each of these videos, maybe open up the exercise file, work along with the instructor, and then at the end of that, it's actually going to build me a whole new assessment. And it's looking at just the lessons and concepts covered in this playlist and pulling questions from our database based on that. So just so you can get a look, some of the assessments have graphics that you can look at. Questions are multiple choice, true, false. I will not go through this whole assessment, but just to give you an idea of what an assessment can look like, go ahead and save and exit out of that. And when I complete that playlist assessment, again, it gives me the opportunity to go ahead and look at my results and build a new playlist based on those results. So it's a very iterative process. And we find when a user does go through that process, they are much more efficient when they're working in the application. Things tend to stick a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that playlist. And we'll go ahead and jump into the library. Just going to create a quick playlist here for future purposes. I deleted. So let's go ahead and jump into Revit. I suspect there's a lot of Revit users on the line. We do, prior to release 2017, have Revit broken out into individual verticals for MEP, architectural, and structural. But with 2017 and forward, we've also are now producing a Revit one-box course. So all of that content is contained in this course. As an organization, if you want to parse out content, it's very easy to do that, and I'm going to actually show you later on in the demonstration. So as you can see, The Revit course is very in-depth, and of course you can just focus on the areas pertinent to you. When I come in, I select the release that I'm using. So I have 2020. I can see exactly how many lessons I've watched versus the total number, how much time I've spent in here. The library is broken out into major titles, and then within each title are the individual video lessons. So if I want to watch a lesson, I simply click on the lesson link. It launches. And I am going to turn the instructor off so I don't have to talk over him. But as you're watching the video, you can see that there are call-outs, there are highlights in the video. There is also a scrolling narration. So if I know I just need one little piece of the video to get through, I can kind of glance through the narration to get to that point. You can also adjust the playback speed. So if you're a new user, you may want to slow this down a little bit, but a power user may want to speed it up. You can also go into a full screen mode. So I can go ahead and pop into full screen mode. I can turn on closed captioning. Not only for the hard of hearing, but many of us learn best by reading along with the instructor. Gives you that capability, or if you're in one of those open office environments, this is a nice resource to have as well. So I'm going to go ahead back into my library and show you a few more things. And yes, we do provide exercise files as well. They're typically available as a link right here in the resources. So let's go ahead back in the library. I just want to touch on a few more things here for you. And we'll stay with 2020. So you can filter within a course. So if you know specifically that you're looking for how to do something, you can just type in a keyword and do a search, and it'll filter right down to those lessons. So I just created a playlist called Slope Roof. You can use playlists for a number of reasons, not just specifically as your learning path, but maybe I'm trying to learn how to do a sloped roof. I might want to just drop the videos related to that right into a playlist. And just like before, it grabs those videos, drops them in. I can go through and watch them as I need to. I can assess myself, make sure I understand the concept. And if you're in an organization using CADLearning, you can also share playlists amongst each other. So maybe if I'm a manager or I'm responsible for support, I might use a playlist to answer a support question. Even if I do that over the shoulder method, I might still want to follow up with a video or have someone watch a video before we go through the steps and just address the areas that are needed. Playlists are also great for somebody new coming in that maybe hasn't used the application before. So maybe I'm new to, let's go ahead and open up BIM 360 so you can get a good look at it. Or why don't we go with Dynamo since it's right there. Maybe I've never used Dynamo before, so I want to get started with it and use it. Taking each topic and dropping it into a playlist and assessing yourself after you go through is a great way of reinforcing the concepts as well. So not just specifically for a learning path, but also for a number of other practical uses as well. Before I jump over to the plugin, I do just want to touch on goals. So I'm going to go ahead and select a goal. And goals are, out of the box, we provide some stock goals that are aligned to Autodesk certifications. But organizationally, goals can be developed specific to your organization and roles utilizing CADLearning and Microsol Resource consultants. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up the Certified Professional for Revit. And I've already started working on this particular goal. And goals are essentially broken down into medallions, which are major learning objectives. So this particular medallion is collaboration for Revit. And then within my medallions, I have individual badges. So let me just scroll up a little bit so you can see the whole thing. So here's a medallion, and then I have specific badges. As I work through, my badges fill in, so it's a little bit more of a gamified experience for the user. I have pop quizzes I can answer every day. If I answer the quiz question correctly, It will eliminate that particular lesson or lessons that are related to the question. If not, it'll tell me what lesson I should go watch in order to reinforce that concept. So it works similar to our traditional approach. If I take an assessment, it's going to allow me to develop a playlist in my learning path. The one unique difference is in the library, if you watch a lesson, it's going to check it off for you. When you're using a goal, your lessons don't check off unless you answer the assessment question right. So it's really making a double check on that competency and assuring that you have it. I also have a progress bar that I can utilize as well over here, and it really highlights how quickly your badges are filling in and so forth. So a little bit different approach and available to users that want to utilize that. Last thing I'm going to pop up before we go into our enterprise application is the CADLearning plugin called CADLearning Assist. So I'm running AutoCAD 2019, and just to refresh, CADLearning Assist runs with AutoCAD-based applications. So if you're using Civil 3D, AutoCAD MEP, plain vanilla AutoCAD, Plant 3D, and so forth, the plugin does work with those. It also works with Revit, and for those of you that maybe are broaching into Inventor, it works with Inventor as well. And the way it works is really very simple and yet very elegant and practical as well. You'll see as I move through the application, and I will not pretend to have any expertise using AutoCAD, it's going to recommend lessons related to what I'm doing. If I were to type in the command prompt, it would also recommend lessons. So it's very easy for the user to come over and say, oh, I'm having a problem with the move command, look at the video, watch it, it's designed so it can run dual screen, and then go back into their work. I have search available. Before we got on the line, I just typed in a search term. It goes into the library, brings me related videos. It recognizes upon install what version you're running and what application, and it will bring the entire library in for you. It also will bring any related playlists you've built in the portal. So again, designed to be that performance support tool for the user. And I can't tell you the amount of praise I receive on that. So we have covered how CADLearning can benefit users and how you can utilize it as an on-demand resource. I want to jump into another portal and touch on areas for you in terms of how CADLearning works organizationally or at the enterprise level. So I have a new menu on my screen called Organization. I'm in a new portal now. This is my demonstration site. And as you can see, I also have a new palette over here called Custom Courses. So what I'd like to touch on here is how you can take CADLearning and customize it for your organization, whether that's customizing our content to fit your needs, adding your own content in, or a combination of both. So I have a palette here, and I have a course that I've started called Revit Productivity. And to create this course, I simply gave it a name. So I'm going to come over into my course area over here and click on my course. I gave it a name and I saved it. And then to get my structure in, if I want to utilize CADLearning content, it works just like the playlist. It's super easy. I can go right into the library. Maybe I want to use something from BIM 360. I can select the topic that I want to use. My mouse got away from me. I want to go ahead and use document management. I can select what I want to use, select my course, drop it right in. Grabs all of those video lessons, pulls them in. Now from here, I can rearrange things. I can delete lessons I want. I do want to emphasize, I don't have to pull from Revit. You noticed I pulled from BIM 360. I can pull from anything in the library to build a course specific to me. So maybe you're utilizing InfraWorks and you want to see how a building's going to look on the site. You can build the particular workflow you might use into a CAD learning course using content from both applications. So I can also, just so you can see how you can add your own content, super easy. This is my topic that I created. I simply gave it a name and saved it, just like my course. I've added some lessons here. If you upload videos into CADLearning, I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. This is just a little video on CADLearning Assist. If I had an SRT file, I could actually upload that as well, and the captions would be available to your users. I can also associate my lessons with a specific CADLearning command. So if I wanted to surface my video lesson that I uploaded in the CADLearning Assist, I just associate it with the command and it feeds through our API. You can also add your own lesson questions, utilizing our questions or your own. And you can also add additional resources, whether that's a lesson file or some other type of document. So we try to make it as easy as possible. I can also add in documents. So I can add, this is just a link to a guide we did, and this is just a PDF that I uploaded. One last thing I want to note is you do have the capability to also make remarks on our videos. So let's say, for example, this particular video does everything that you need it to. A little bit of a lapse here. You can actually make comments on the video using the commenting tool. So maybe we do almost everything in this video, but just one specific part you do a little bit differently. You can make a note on the video that the user will see. So pretty simple. Try to make our tools as easy as possible for you to use. Now, if that weren't enough, you can also create custom assessments. Before I jump into an assessment, I just want to go through the different types that are available to organizations. So out of the box, you can create overall knowledge and skills-based assessments, just like ours. Pre-hire assessments, we touched on in the presentation, in the PowerPoint. We do give you the tools to create pre-hire assessments. I can't tell you how many of my customers utilize these. It's a great resource. You can make sure that you're hiring someone that has the particular skill sets that they need for a position. So at least from that perspective, you know you're making a good hire. And because they're taking an assessment, it's going to also let you know where are the gaps so you can focus their onboarding plan on those gaps. A gap assessment looks at different versions of the software and then allows you to create an assessment based on those differences. So maybe Revit 2019 versus 2020 or AutoCAD 2018 versus 2019 and so forth. If that weren't enough, we also give you different methods. Static is just like our out-of-the-box assessments. So once we publish those, they don't change. A standard assessment allows you to come in and change an assessment after you've created it. And dynamic is similar to the playlist. You select the topics you want to cover in your assessment, specify a number of questions, and each time a user comes and takes that particular assessment, it's going through and it's randomly picking the questions based on the concepts. So it's always changing. If you're looking for an apples-to-apples comparison in terms of someone going through their learning path, I'd recommend static or standard. So let's take a look at my assessment that I produce. I'm just going to go ahead and pull that up. I have an assessment to go along with my course. To get my CADLearning questions in, I simply associate with a CADLearning course. So in this case, I use Dynamo and Insight. And then if I want to use those questions, I simply select the assessment I want to use, and it's a simple drag and drop. I can also add my own questions in. And in addition to that, you may use different terminology or vernacular in your organization. Sometimes we find we call it one thing, but you may use a different terminology. You can adjust the assessment questions to reflect that. So you can adjust our terminology So if you wanted to add a question, you'd do it here. So again, we try to keep it as simple as possible for you. And of course, as far as anything you add into the library, while we're Autodesk specific, you can add any content. So if you're using SketchUp or Bluebeam or Solibri or some other tool, you certainly can add content related to that, and it does not even have to be software related. So the last thing I want to touch on before we open it up for questions, and I appreciate all your patience, is some of the reporting tools available at the enterprise level. So we do have a number of reports available, and of course we also give you the tools to manage your users as well. So at a high level, we have a lot of graphical reports where you can come in, and this is a demo site, so there's not a lot of data here, and just get a high level view of how much time someone's spending in the system. Or the majority of my accounts like our download capabilities where they can download activity and get a full look at what everybody's doing in the portal based on a specific time frame. We also have a direct connect to Power BI if you're using that, or you can connect to any reporting tools through our API if that's your preference. Same with assessments. If you're an organization that might be using assessments to understand where your users are at, and then provide a learning path, and you want to come back and take a look later on and see how they're progressing, we do keep track of all that as well. So I'm just randomly choosing an assessment. If I had multiple users, you'd see them as well. As I hover over a question, you can see what the question was, whether it was answered right or wrong. We do maintain the history of all assessments. And again, the best way to see that data is to actually download it.